somebody asked that why did Mbale rush to bury? Mbale district also has trained safe burial teams, and they are right to bury. They don't have to wait for the Ministry of Health to go and assist them to bury. And the deceased in Namisindwa was well buried, except that the terrain there is a bit difficult. And when there were heavy rains, there was a bit of exposure, but it is not true that dogs have descended on that body. It is not true. And again, the burial was corrected, and we need to leave the deceased to rest in peace. I will now go through the several questions that were asked. First, I will start with the issue of testing of the NRM Secretariat and whether it is the arrangement or it is available for all political parties. In my statement, I clearly stated that the Ministry of Health is available to guide all individuals, all political parties, and anyone on how to handle the standard operating procedures, including testing. The NRM Secretariat approached us to carry out the testing, and we are willing to do it. Similarly, for any political party, should they approach us that they are going to have any activity, we are ready to come in and support. So it should be knowledge to the public that we are ready to support activities. The only challenge we have is the limited testing capacities in terms of test kits, not in terms of the equipment. The issue of we have done all, what else do we need to do? That was a very interesting question. We have not done all, madam. Under the lockdown, first lifting of the lockdown, as you have heard from many people, we are not implementing the measures. People are too complacent. And if we don't, again, go back to seriousness, we are going to see many more cases and many more deaths. The other question is very interesting, that we have very few active cases. So why are we worried? And should we really be worried? The scientists have answered that question. One active case today can translate into several thousand active cases tomorrow in just a few minutes. We need to be very worried, and we need to be vigilant. And we have stated it here again and again, that the more the cases we have, then the risk of death will go high. When we have fewer cases, the health workers are able to concentrate on the few cases, and they will come out alive. The more the cases, the less the time, and the higher the probability of death. So we need to work very hard to ensure that the numbers remain as low as possible. And we can only do that if the population is united as one to implement the standard operating procedures and be cognizant that our health is our responsibility. The other question was the 27-year-old man who collapsed in Namisindwa. Fortunately, his test turned out negative, so he did not die due to COVID-19, and the population should be informed about this. Is there a plan for accrediting private hospitals or other hospitals to manage COVID-19? We recognize, and again I must state this, that I have been seeing a statement from Rubaga saying they have an isolation facility and they are now ready to treat COVID-19. I want to appreciate Rubaga Hospital for taking this step. But again, I want to remind Rubaga that procedures must be followed. For laboratories, there is an accreditation committee that is chaired by Professor Kalebo. So as long as they are not accredited and we have not standardized their labs, we cannot encourage people to go there. They must write to us requesting to be accredited as a center. And the lab is assessed and accredited by the committee, and then we can tell the population. So as it stands now, we don't know that lab. Secondly is the issue of the isolation facility. We cannot recognize it because we have a committee that has to assess that treatment facility and give information as to whether it is ready and it is safe. And I don't think Dr. Worodri and his teams have been there, so we don't recognize it. So I want to tell Rubaga Hospital to follow procedures.
And the body was poorly buried. The decomposing of the body odor has sent away the security. Our quarantine now has 180
It has what?
people.
What are you saying?
The decomposing body.
It is still there. Okay.
It was buried but poorly done. And I think the dogs have opened up. So the odor is everywhere. Right, Honorable Speaker, we expected intervention from the center to sensitize the community. The family, this lady was a VHT who had participated in the supply of nets in the neighboring village. Our quarantine is now over 180 without food, and the whole district has only 4 temperature guns. We are unable to feed them, we are unable to care for them, and the community now is up in arms. They do not want to receive the family back in the community. We do not have any psychosocial support from the center. My plea. We are praying that the Minister of Health comes to our intervention, provides psychosocial support, because if the churches were open, maybe the prayers and the counseling would come from the churches, but they are still closed. We don't have sanitizers enough. We have not received masks. Right, Honorable Speaker, I remember recently, before the end of the last financial year, we approved a supplementary for this. As a border district, we have not received a single mask, and we don't have any further intervention in this case. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are overwhelmed, and we are asking for intervention from Ministry of Health. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable.
Issues raised by Honorable Member from Namsindwa are very, very, very pertinent. Madam Speaker, we are told that the government has put in place a special team that is going to take over the burial arrangements for COVID victims. So I don't know whether this is the team that they told us is going to be in place so that if we get any case of death in as far as COVID is concerned, this very team is the one that is going to handle. So if it was handled by the local people and it was not done properly well, all the Madam, as it needs the Minister of Health also make sure that we have to really where if someone has died of properly, we don't get cases from.
Was the border district. It was a border district. So, who is getting the? Have now we need the Minister to Namsindwa to ensure that the body is properly to treat the people who are around, because maybe now they have problems. I want to know tomorrow whether they are not here. We want to get your team quickly. the burial of the body of the lady. Also ensure that we provide them with sanitizer and the masks, especially the masks which you said were for the border districts. We need an urgent answer on this one tomorrow. Very urgent, Minister of Health. Yes.